Hi, I'm Ling and I'm an artist in Sydney. Last year I turned my apartment into a home art studio, making very simple choices to bring in more inspiration and creativity. There weren't many physical changes to the space other than getting an easel and art supplies, but I can see now that my whole mentality shifted. I went from thinking that I couldn't paint to creating my first artwork, making prints and working on commissions. I went from sharing my ideas with a friend to launching a homewares brand called Yuli together. And this week I had my very first art exhibition of original paintings. I'd love to share everything along the way, especially if it's something you're new to or interested in doing as well. The whole experience has shown me that being an artist really just comes from making art, whether or not you have any doubts about the process. So this exhibition is going to be a group show and it's run by Platform Presents. It will go for 3 days in Sydney during Asian Heritage Week, and the theme for the exhibition is a family gathering. It's not meant to be a literal interpretation for any particular piece, but it's more about everyone coming together in one place. And I actually think that starting with a group show could be the perfect thing for me because I don't actually have many finished paintings to fill a gallery, and it will also definitely help me to reach audiences that I probably can't reach on my own at this stage. So Platform Presents opened a call out on Instagram, but I actually found out about it through another artist. Brian is an artist in Sydney and he does the most beautiful calligraphy paintings with ink. I actually have two here that I can show you. The first one is a piece that I picked up for Sarah because she's a ceramicist and this is the Chinese character for pottery. The second piece is one that I picked up for our home and it's the character for flower, which I think fits so perfectly with all of the paintings I've been working on recently. Brian also has two of our Yuli homewares pieces in his art studio. The first one is a crane incense holder, which was handmade by Sarah. She used Korean techniques to carve and fill the cranes, and I think there's such a peaceful motive. He also got the Dali incense to go with it, and this one is a really unique floral scent. It's been so nice to swap pieces with other artists in Sydney since starting the brand, and I really feel like it makes so much difference to just start sharing art in the first place, especially because you never know who might connect with it and who might think of your work whenever opportunities do come up. So I responded to the call out online with a bit of a proposal, and they said I could exhibit up to 3 pieces. I actually didn't have 3 pieces finished by the time I was submitting this, but one thing that really helped was having a plan and being able to quickly put it into an application. So this is a journal that we've made for Yuli, which has one of my paintings on the cover. It's printed on linen to match the artwork, and we also designed it to lie completely flat, so it's really good for sketching or mock-ups as well as just writing down ideas really easily. I am painting on linen for most of my artwork, so I decided to get some brown toned paper, and I've basically just been sketching out any ideas that come to me, which I think is a really low pressure way of experimenting and seeing what I might like to paint next. And then in the journal, I've really just let myself go through the whole creative process and also keep track of any bigger ideas that I eventually want to work on. One painting is finished of wild irises and the moon. I'm going to have the original on display and sell art prints, which are also available online. And then I have a few other options for the other 2 paintings, which are all at different stages. Having these smaller sketches has made it really easy to see different layout options for the exhibition, and I think it's also helped with the potential colour palette. There are definitely a few more in here where I have actually started the paintings and some have progressed, but the colours just don't really sit as well as a set. I also have a lot more ideas and other sketches in here that I would really love to paint one day. But for now, I'm going to see if I can finish one that's pretty close, and then we can decide what to do for the 3rd painting. This painting is based on one of my favourite scenes from the Yuli launch event, which we held at the Chinese Garden of Friendship in Sydney. Sarah and I styled all of the flowers, and we had orchids and lotus buds in one of her handmade moon vases. I love the combination because it captures the feeling of early ideas which are just waiting to bloom. It sounds like such a specific subject for a painting, but I guess still life has existed as a genre in art for a very long time. There are so many paintings of flowers and ceramics in China that date back over 1,000 years, and I don't think that modern art always needs to have a very complex concept. This one just came from appreciating balance. I've been working on this painting over the last few weeks, so the vase and flowers are nearly finished, but I have been putting off the most important part, which needs to happen in just one brush stroke. The original moon vase that Sarah made has a really thick brush stroke in a white glaze, so I've picked up this brush and I think we're just going to try it out. I want to do a single brush stroke without going into areas that I've already painted, so I cut out sections of masking tape to protect all of the flowers. I probably could have tested this somewhere first, but I decided to just go for it and see what would happen. I might have been apprehensive before, but having a deadline can really help to move past that. I stamped the work with my name in Chinese characters, and I also included one of the Yuli logo because this piece is really about celebrating collaboration. After our launch event, Sarah went back home overseas and we haven't hosted anything in person since then. It's been a few months and this exhibition will be a really nice way to meet people through art again. I just got told that we can actually have a whole table to display some Yuli products, and we'll be taking some stock to have for sale during the exhibition as well. So the first piece that I'm packing are our journals. They have my painting on the cover and I think it will look so nice with the display on the wall at the venue. The next thing we can take are some of our fragrances, and I think this is the best thing to have at an in-person event because then people can actually sample the scents. I know it can be a little bit harder when looking online, and it really just comes down to personal preference, so it can be hard to know what a fragrance will seem like in your home and what you'll be drawn to. So I love that people will actually be able to try these out. We have one candle fragrance that we're taking, which is called Moonrise. It's a mix of fig and oolong, and it's definitely one of our coziest and warmest scents. It's really inspired by the fact that all of our friends and family will bring plates of chopped fruit whenever they come to visit, and so I think that fits really well into the theme of a family gathering. We also have 3 fragrances to choose from for incense. The first one is Jeju, which is based on the island in Korea, and this one is a citrus mix of hellebong and mist. The next one is based on Dali in China, and the wild iris scent in this was actually made to match the wild irises in my painting, but we've also blended it with a really fresh snow-like fragrance, and that just matches the mountains in the region. The third scent is called Cha, and I think this one is just a really classic mix of jasmine and tea. Chase helped to pack all of the pieces, and it reminded me that he's always done this for my art ever since we were 17 and I was working on drawing commissions. Even before he had a driver's license or a car, I remember him walking from the train station carrying all of my huge frames. It's very nice to have support like this, and also to know that some things really never change. For this exhibition, he's also hyped me up to try a huge painting, so I got the biggest canvas I could find. I really want to start a painting based on Ermeishan, a mountain above the clouds in China. I first saw it in an ink brush painting by Songshi Li before travelling there for ourselves last year. It's honestly one of the most mystical places that I've ever seen. So this is the canvas that I'm going to be using for the painting, and I know it's probably getting really cropped at the bottom because it is so tall. The longest side is 1.5 meters, and I got this custom made from a store called Fantastic Framing if you're in Australia. I really love the look of a very natural linen canvas, and I try to have that showing through in all of my artworks. But it is kind of funny to look at because this time last year I'd never painted before, and I thought the first canvases I got to try were actually pretty big, but the more I've been painting, the bigger I want to go, so I decided to just go all out with this one. I might have made a bit of a mistake with the proportions though, because I planned for this to be a really long horizontal landscape painting, and I asked them to hang it that way so the wire runs down the longest side. But now that it's here and I can see just how wide it is, I'm not sure if it's super practical. I'm looking around my apartment and can't really see any walls that would fit this unless it took up the entire wall. And I guess in most people's homes, the only place it could go horizontally is maybe above a couch or in a long hallway. And I just don't know if people want to make that kind of commitment when purchasing an artwork. So I'm wondering if I should redesign what I have in mind so that it fits this vertical orientation instead. It might just be more realistic to have this width of wall space, and I don't think it would be the worst because a lot of Chinese ink brush paintings really do flatten the landscape vertically. I've had a few afternoons to work on this painting, and I've basically finished the first layer of all of the mountains and clouds, and I've made a start on some of the temple details. But I actually got really sick for the last few weeks and even ended up in hospital one night. So I've been really careful not to push myself to finish it and to just rest and recover, especially because I think I don't want to not enjoy the process of making it or not be happy with the final result. But at the same time, I also realized that even if I did manage to rush it through, there's every chance that the paint wouldn't be dry in time for the exhibition either. I always like to build up oil paints in very thin layers and kind of like washes of color, but they do need a lot of time to dry in between. In my normal routine, I usually have a lot of energy for creative ideas, but I don't always have a lot of time. And this was completely reversed in the last few weeks, where I had a lot of time to recover, but absolutely no energy to make things. It was something I was talking about with my friend Jen recently. She's actually a writer and she's working on a novel that I really can't wait to read, but I think she also really relates to the feeling of never quite having enough time to create the things that you want to. I think it's a bit of a blessing and a curse for anyone creative, because you really need that original motivation and ambition to spark the ideas and propel your interest. But I think you also have to get comfortable with the fact that there might not always be enough time or energy to work on them, and that that's also okay. I was actually just messaging Sarah to let her know about all of the stock when my doorbell rang, and I thought this might have been a mistake because I really wasn't expecting any deliveries, but it was just Sarah sending this as a celebration for the exhibition. It's the most beautiful bunch of poppies, and she wrote this note which said, "For my beautiful friend, to celebrate a milestone for your art, so proud of you." I'm honestly so grateful to have found such supportive and uplifting friends, especially because some of my closest friends have actually moved overseas in the last few years. But it's really nice to know that we can always just call and we still share all of our lives together. I think we always really try to be a part of everything in any way that we can, despite the distance. And I just hope that I can return this level of thoughtfulness and care, because I really feel like it's one of the best and most important parts of life. I love how sculptural the poppies are, and this bunch also has a lot that still need to open up. I've kept one vase on my tea cart, and I'll be able to take the rest to the exhibition for our display. It's been really nice to look back on the process behind my art now, because Sarah was one of the first people that I ever showed my paintings to. She brought her first pottery pieces over around the same time, which is actually what led us to start a whole collection and brand together. We've always believed so much in each other's ideas and craft, and it's so uplifting to see everything grow from that place. Instead of rushing the large painting, I decided to finish another one that was about halfway done. It's based on Noarlung Falls, which I got to visit on the same trip back to China, and the landscape filled me with a really huge sense of abundance. I actually came home and started this painting right away. I got the original paintings ready and also got a fine art print for the display. These prints will be available on the Yuli Kiln website as well, which I'll link below. I'm just about to go to the gallery, so we can chat while I quickly get ready. The whole exhibition actually opened yesterday, but today they're having more of an opening night. And there's going to be a lot of different market stalls by local creatives and a curated tea menu that I'm really excited to try. I also got the loveliest message quite late last night to say that the painting I had for sale actually sold on the first day, which is so exciting. I wasn't 100% sure how it would go because I didn't have too much time to prepare for the exhibition, but it's really so touching to know that someone has connected with the piece enough to want it in their home. The one they picked up was of Noarlung waterfalls, and I think when I visited that region, I was just filled with such a huge sense of abundance. So I really hope that the painting can bring that energy into their space. This is my favorite piece from Jade Jewelry, and I also have a bracelet that matches with one of my friends. It's getting pretty cold in Sydney, so I've brought out wool and quilted jackets. I love this one from Clons, which has embroidered fish. The exhibition finished yesterday and I think it went really well. It was so nice to meet Jess at Platform Presents, who curated everything, and I think she did such a great job with the opening night. Sometimes art galleries can feel a little bit quiet or awkward, but I think Platform Presents tries to make the experience really immersive and create more like a pop-up event where it felt like everyone was just coming together in one place. Overall, I think there were around 450 people visiting, which is very exciting, and I've also never really had an audience for my art like this. It was so interesting to see people's reactions to the works and also to meet so many artists and be able to chat about the creative process. We talked about a lot of different mediums like 3D printing, there were sculptures, pottery and paintings. And I think it was just so nice to be in an area with so much inspiration. I got to meet a few people who picked up our journal and actually got to talk to them about what they'll be using it for. One is really excited to use it for morning pages, which I think can be such a good daily practice. And another one wanted to sketch out more of their ideas and plans for future artworks. It was also so interesting to see people's reactions to the fragrances, and Char was the most popular by far. I think every box of this sold out, including the one we had on display. But Dali, which is my favorite one, also got some really kind reviews. The best thing that someone said was that the fragrance feels nostalgic and mystical. This week I'm also packing the painting that sold of Norralong Falls, and I just feel really grateful to know that it's going into the home of an artist. I haven't really decided yet whether I want to make prints of absolutely everything that I paint, but I think this exhibition has shown me that I probably could start working on a slightly bigger collection with similar themes and color palettes, because there has been a little bit of interest in seeing future original works. I think that's going to be so exciting to start planning, and really the best feedback I got from the weekend was that even though the space was very busy and there were a lot of people, when someone individually connected with the artwork, they usually said that they felt really calm, which means so much to me. The journal and fragrances will be available online at Yuli Kiln. I'll leave a link below, and we can ship internationally, so if you have any issues, just message us on Instagram. For a while, I felt like there was a gap before I could call myself an artist. It wasn't until I started creating more last year that I realized that's really all there is to it. I don't think you need to have specific goals or a list of things that prove you're an artist to anyone else. You just need to act on your ideas and make the art. But one of the most consistent things about the creative process is that it requires us to go beyond what we know. It definitely helps to question what's holding us back from starting something, whether it's getting the paints, ordering a canvas, or just saying that now is the time to do it. And if you can make it easier to get past the starting point each time, I think ideas can only continue to grow. If you watch this, thank you so much for spending time here and coming to the first show. It would be great if you could subscribe to this channel and follow Yuli Kiln on Instagram for more art. But otherwise, I hope it's just been a really nice place to unwind.